How you doing, ladies and gentlemen? Eric Carlson here, running for Congress in the 1st Congressional District. Got the whiteboard back out. So if since the primary, if you're new, if you've never seen any of my videos, I ask that you please go to Eric Carlson for Congress on YouTube, and you can see all my prior videos where I address issues subject by subject. I have a bunch of videos, over 40 videos up there. But today I wanted, for people who may have not, because the confusion, so many people in the primary who may have not seen the way I do things. Again, this is a very low budget campaign. I'm doing this by myself. I only spent about $2,300 on the entire primary to win that. But things I want to talk about, and the biggest section of the 1st district is population-wise, is in Cook County and specifically in the city of Chicago. So that's what I'm going to focus this video on. We have issues all over. We have different issues down in Kankakee County and out in Will County and Western Will County, out by the Grundy County line, down by Godley. But we need to focus on this because I know that's where the majority of the voters are at, and I want you to see that the only way that we can go forward with this, the only way that you're going to get past this sticking these Democrat policies, and this is what I want to talk to the folks in the city that may not see this. I'm a conservative. If the word Republican puts you off or something, you need to look at it in a different light. You need to look at where the policies have gotten you. And I am thoroughly convinced that the vast majority of black voters in this district and across the country are actually conservative. Your values: you want safe neighborhoods, you want good schools, you want good paying jobs, you want low taxes. You're conservative. You just haven't been allowed to express it because the Democrats for so long have kept you in this spot that they tell you to be afraid. They've done it with fear. They tell you to be afraid of what's out there, and people are going to come and get you if you don't vote for them and keep them in power. Well, they haven't done anything for you. Bobby Rush was there for 30 years. Nothing has changed in Englewood. Nothing's changed in Roseland. Nothing's changed in Chatham. You have small groups to come forward and make improvements, maybe a couple blocks here or a project there. But overall, the neighborhoods haven't changed. So I want to get into how we fix that. And there's so many things that are intertwined. I hope this doesn't go super long. But and I'm out on the street talking to people about this stuff, but it's very hard for me because I don't have the money to be on TV or to television or radio ads. So I have to do it like this. So I appreciate if people share the word. But the economic development, we hear this a lot in the black neighborhoods. What we need is economic development, economic investment. I hear this all the time from Democrat politicians. They've been saying it for 50 years. Why doesn't it work? Why don't they get that development? Well, they had that development. You had businesses come in there. We just lost out of Englewood Whole Foods, and then we just lost in Auburn Gresham, we lost Aldi. You're going to go back to food deserts. This is a problem. We had this before. We had this problem where people in the neighborhoods they had to go so far out of their way, and now with gas prices and the price of food, this is going to make it very, very hard on people. But it's Democrat policies that are driving these businesses out. Aldi specifically came out and said the reason they were leaving was because of the crime. The crime that's not being prosecuted by people like Kim Foxx. And the police aren't being supported by the Democrat Party. Lori Lightfoot, all these politicians. If you live in the city of Chicago and in Cook County, just about every aspect of your life, from your precinct captain, your ward boss, all the way up to the President of the United States, every level of your government, state, county, city, federal, is controlled by Democrats. And this is the situation that you're in. Sometimes you just got to take a step back and say, hey, how about we try something different for 2 years and just see. See what changes, see if there's, and I've said this before, I put this in my videos, I'm not a professional politician, I've never run for anything before. If I can't get you results in 2 years, I will walk away. And then you can have Jonathan Jackson or whoever you want to put in there that's going to stay there for 30 years. But I'm asking for a chance to do this, to just show you what conservative policies can do, what difference they can make. And the first thing we do is we support police. We support police so they're not afraid to come in and do their job. When the bad people are causing the crime, which is a very small percentage, they are holding the rest of the neighborhoods, the good people, hostage. They can't go out. They can't go to the store. They're worried about now they have to go further for a store because Aldi closed down, so that's not in your neighborhood anymore because the criminals. So if you let the police go in, police know who the bad guys are. Let them do their job. And you can't, anytime a police officer has an interaction with a black individual, you can't say that's racist. Because, if you keep saying it's racist and you chase the police out, and the police are scared to do their job because they're worried about losing their job, going to jail, getting sued, all these other things, they're not going to show up. And you're seeing that. And that just spirals down because the criminals know that. Cops aren't going to show up. And the state's attorney, Kim Foxx, isn't going to charge us. And they're not going to lock us up. We're going to be right back out on the street. Why would the police want to show up there? Which just increases the crime. And again, this downward spiral, that's what you're seeing, folks. And it's so easy to fix. And the people in the neighborhoods, and I know there's a lot of good people that support the police, and believe me, I'm no apologist for the police. When they mess up, I call them out. And the police need more funding and more training. And I've done different videos on that and everything. We can make the policing so much better. But we have to deal with what we have here now. You have to support them. That's the first step. Get the criminals off the street so the businesses will come back in. I started to say before, I hear Democrat politicians always say we need to invest in the community. Their idea of investing in the community is taking tax dollars, raising taxes on people who produce and businesses who produce, taking that money into their coffers, divvying it out, where a lot of it gets lost to their friends through contracts and everything else. We know how it works here in Chicago and especially Cook County. If you lose all that money, it's wasted. You can't take away from the people who produce because they're not going to produce. They're going to have to shut down their operations. They're going to have to eliminate jobs. Maybe they move out of state, take the jobs and that tax revenue with them, which is what we're seeing in this state. You have to allow businesses to make money. And you do that by cutting business taxes because then they come in and they expand it. When it makes it profitable for them to come into neighborhoods like Inglewood and Roseland, they will come there because there's money there to be made. You just have to make it safe for them to come there. And then you don't have to worry. Like I said, it's not a racist policy when these businesses leave. It's strictly business. If a business can't make money, they're not going to stay there. If you make it safe there too, you also get black-owned businesses can develop. Small black-owned businesses in these neighborhoods can develop and thrive. But how do we get to that point? How do we get to that? You have to have an income and a tax base. So how do we do that? How do we get more jobs, more good-paying jobs? And I'm not talking about the Democrat Party coming in and saying, oh, we're just going to give you $15 an hour minimum wage. You cannot arbitrarily set a wage. The market has to set the wage. That's the only way this economy works. But what you can do is instead of these, the school curriculum that is set here, teaching CRT and teaching all this BS, not getting these kids ready. And in the city of Chicago, these schools are failing. They're failing these kids and they're failing these families, and it just perpetuates the cycle. But for the Democrats, that's a good thing because it keeps people in need. And if people are in need, they have to have somebody to supposedly go fight for them. But the Democrats never manage to solve the problems. I want to solve the problems so you don't need me. If government is working properly, you shouldn't even know it's there. But they need victims, they need a victim class, and they need people that need them, depend on the government. That's not the way this is supposed to be. When you get people good jobs, look at the names of people. Carpenter, Sawyer, Miller, Farmer. Last names that people used to take that depicted what they did, what their profession was. That was their entire life. That was their existence. And they were proud of it. They're proud of these things. You need to get that back and give people that pride that they have in going out and earning that paycheck and buying their own stuff and taking pride in their house and their garden and their front lawn. That's how you get this. You don't get it by giving handouts, which is what Cook County's just starting now with the insured, or what do they call it? Insured income or a guaranteed income, where they're going to give people just checks for $500 a month for doing absolutely nothing. There are 11 million job openings in this country right now. There is no reason for anybody who wants to work, who actually wants to work, not to have a job. And there is no reason to be taking people's tax dollars that do work and giving it to people to sit on their ass. Absolute insanity. But this is what you get. It keeps people on the welfare rolls. It breaks up the black family. And this is another thing. This, like I said, folks, everything is intertwined. The destruction of the black family by Democrats through the welfare system. It has to end. 1964, the Civil Rights Act was passed. You had 80% of black families were two-parent households. Fast forward to today, after all this, all the Democrats told you that they were going to do for blacks in America, you have about 75 to 80% of black children growing up in single-family households because Democrats have chased the father out of the house, the male role model that keeps these kids from getting in trouble and getting in trouble and committing crimes and causing the businesses to leave the neighborhood because of the crime, because these kids aren't being supervised. This causes it. But also, when you fail them in the schools, and that is the Chicago Teachers Union and teachers unions in general, dictating, because they give 94% of their donations. When they collect their union dues, they divvy it out 94% of the time nationwide to Democrat candidates. So the Democrat candidates are beholden to them. So they give them whatever they want. They give them huge pensions, which puts us in debt as a state. You see how Illinois is in this much problem, this big of a problem with our debt, and most of it is pension related. So then the Democrats tell them, okay, we'll give you this big pension. You give us money out of your fund that you take from your members, even though a lot of your members don't even want to be in the union. And this isn't against the teachers. It's not the teachers, it's the teachers union. They are hamstringing the kids, they're hurting the teachers, they're hurting the school, they're hurting these neighborhoods. They're not doing anything other than for their members and their people at the top. So when you get this poor curriculum now these kids were sitting learning CRT instead of learning math, reading, English, how to write. And my big thing is trades. You need to bring in the high schools. In the high school, starting freshman year, I know they've got away from shop classes and everything. We were just talking about this the other day with some family members. We all grew up, we went in the trades. We're all in the construction trades pretty much. Electricians, carpenters, pipe fitters. In my family, you had a lot of tradesmen, mechanics. So we're all blue collar in my family. You can earn a good living, a good solid living. If you start teaching these kids in the high schools, every Chicago public school should have a trades program. You can get retired tradesmen to come in, and I'm sure there's plenty of black tradesmen out there that are retired or getting ready to retire that would love to come in and teach shop classes to these kids. Teach them how to weld, teach them how to bend pipe, teach them how to plumb, all these things. And then what you do is the city of Chicago has all these abandoned buildings. You take them out and each one is a project house. Each one is a project house. You link up with the 501c3s, the charities in the neighborhoods. You get them and you get organizations like Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards, get them to donate the materials. And you rehab these houses. Each school has a project house, a 3-flat or a 4-flat. Now you want to talk about affordable housing? Now the city has these units available to give to people that really need housing. So we talk about people that are low income, that need good housing. Here it is. These kids are learning a trade. After they get out, when they graduate high school, after 4 years with these skills, they can go right out and get a job in the union, in the trade unions. And they're going to start out that first year, or they'll probably have to go through the apprentice program, unless, and I would like to do this, get the apprentice programs to come into the high schools. That's where you get these kids. When you get them at 14 years old going into high school, and they see, hey, boom, here's my future laid out in front of me. I'm going to graduate high school. It's going to be great. I'm going to learn this trade. Folks, the satisfaction every day I came home from work and I was dead tired, but it was a good tired. It was a good tired. You stay physically fit, and when you're at a job and you take a step back, when that job's getting close and you look and you see what you did and you know that building's going to stand, that building's going to be there for the next 80, 100 years. People are going to see it. You put a new roof on the building, you know that's going to keep people safe and warm from a Chicago winter. You take pride in that. That's what goes back to the names that people used to have. They took pride in what their skill was. That was their life. That was their being, their existence. If you take that away by giving people handouts and tell them, no, just sit here, it does nothing for the person's soul. It does absolutely no good for them. You have to give people a reason. And I'm telling you, you get these kids in the trades, they're going to be making 75, 80, 90, 100 grand a year coming out of high school without going to college. College has become a business and become a joke. Everybody gets the same piece of paper and they go out and then none of them can find jobs because everybody's got, like I said, the same sheet of paper. You're always going to need plumbers. You're always going to need electricians. You're always going to need carpenters. There's not a machine that's going to make all this stuff. You need guys with hands to put on. It's so basic, and I don't know why there's so few blacks in the trade unions, and I don't know why. This I want to see, and Republicans want to see, this is it. We want to see everyone do well. Democrats have told the black community for the longest time that, no, the Republicans want to keep you down and they want to do this and that. Absolutely not. We want to see everyone do well, because when everyone's doing well, everyone's happy. We cut taxes, we cut corporate taxes under Donald Trump. That created the lowest unemployment, black unemployment, Latino unemployment, and black youth unemployment in American history, because these corporations hired more people, they invested more in their business, and then we got hit by COVID. And the first people to get laid off were those young black kids, and you saw the murder rate fall from over 750 last year of Barack Obama in the city of Chicago down to 490 in 2019 under Donald Trump. Those numbers don't lie, because those kids weren't on the street. They were getting jobs and things were getting better for them. COVID hit, the first people to be laid off were those kids who had the entry-level jobs. They couldn't telecommute. They couldn't, get on the computer and go into work. They had hands-on jobs. They got laid off. I don't want to give people burger flipping jobs. When somebody tells you that minimum wage is, well, you need to have it because a living wage. Minimum wage is not meant for you to live on. That's meant for young kids to get work experience, learn how to work in another group or in a group with people, and how a structure works in a business and what the boss tells you and how things work. And then you move on. If you're staying in a minimum wage job, your schools have failed you. That's it. But this is the way out, because now you get these kids that go to school, they get these jobs in the trades. Now the kid comes out of high school, he's working a couple of years, he's making 75 grand a year. He can buy his own house. Now he buys a 2-flat. Now he's a landlord. Now he is a real estate owner. The single greatest way to wealth in this country has always been real estate investing. If you can buy a 2-flat or a 3-flat, live in one unit and rent the other ones out, you're golden. And you keep working. This is the American dream, folks. You have to work for it, but it's there. It's there for all of us. We live in the greatest country in the world. The Democrat Party doesn't want you to know that. If they can't keep you beholden to them and worrying about getting their crumbs that they come back and give you from the table, they lose you. They lose you. But I'm asking people to please look at this. 2-year shot. That's it. 2-year shot. That's all I'm asking for. And then, like I said, if I can't get it done, who has more to prove to the voters of this district, the district that normally votes 75% Democrat? Who has more to prove? Myself, who's going to come in here, who knows that I have to let people know that, hey, I'm getting the job done, and these are the things I want to implement, and I'm going to be on the ground with the nonprofits, with the schools, in the neighborhoods, with the church groups, getting this stuff set up, working with the unions to get these programs set up. That's what needs to happen. If we don't do this, you're going to get, Chicago is on a downward spiral right now, and it's because of policies. Lori Lightfoot doesn't know what she's doing. The crime. We'll go back to the crime, and we're at 18 minutes, but this is stuff that needs to be said, and people that don't know me or don't know what I'm about need to hear this stuff, because this is what this election is about in the 1st District. So if we can't get Democrats in Chicago to support the police and prosecute these people, then we have to look at the federal level, which, being a congressman, a lot of the problems in the city and the county are local problems. Your local politicians need to handle that. But as a congressman, I can help with that. I can bring in federal resources. I can go to the FBI and the U.S. Marshals and say, listen, and bring legislation to the floor saying we need to really criminalize gangs. We need to break them up. We give the young men the option. Listen, we're setting up these trades. If you want to truly help the black community and be remembered and truly be respected, not for being a gangbanger or the toughest guy in your block, but actually being a man who keeps your block straight, goes to work every day, pays taxes, earns. I want to see everyone do well. This will bring back the black nuclear family. You bring that back, and these kids have 2 parents in the home, and they're getting good schools. The businesses come back in. The more businesses come back in, because there's more blacks there making more money. The people are making more money. They have better jobs. They're going to come in because businesses are going to look at it and say, hey, guess what? There's money to be made there, and there's no crime now. We can come in there. And blacks are going to be able to be entrepreneurs there, expand their businesses. This is how you make a successful, and there were black neighborhoods like this. Bronzeville, all these neighborhoods back when. because you had a black nuclear family. I'm a historian and I'm a photographer. Those are my two passions, two things I love. And I like to go back and I like to look at historic pictures from Chicago from about a century ago, 1920s, 1930s, even in the 40s and stuff. And you go back and you look at how people dressed, black and white, Latino. Look how they dressed. Men wore suits. Men wore hats. Wore a tie. You wore a shirt just when you were going down to the store. People had respect. People had respect. Ladies wore hats. Ladies wore their dresses on Sunday. People took pride in their neighborhoods, and people still do. And this is the bad thing, is it's a very small percentage of people that are screwing it up. But if you don't have the people at the top who are willing to prosecute the bad people, and instead of saying, and yes, I know we've had major issues with the Chicago police, Burge, and things like that. That needs to be weeded out. And there's ways to do that, but you can't turn your back on that institution, because if you don't have the police, you have chaos. So you need to help the police. The police are in a rough spot. I work with veterans with post-traumatic stress. That's what I do, and I still, a lot of people don't know, I work full-time, and I just got done going to school full-time while I was running my primary campaign. So I can do a lot of things at one time. But I'm sorry I got off track there, but you have to allow the police to do their job. When these officers go out and they see a 5-month-old baby, they show up at the scene, they see a 5-month-old baby shot and killed, or a 10-year-old boy shot in his house, sitting in his room. I don't know if he was playing with his toys, reading a book, watching a movie. He gets shot through the wall by a stray bullet because gangbangers out there on the street do not care. So you have to let the good guys take care of the bad guys. Get them off this. It's like a Band-Aid. If you just let them do that, if you let them clear the streets up for you, your neighborhoods will be better off, and then you can have a good relationship. But if you keep bad-mouthing and not supporting these guys, and you let the bad guys run amok, it's never going to get better. So, like I said, this is all intertwined, folks, but this is economic development. The foundation is get rid of the crime. You have to get rid of the crime so the businesses will come back in. The businesses come back in, they bring their tax dollars, and they create jobs in those neighborhoods so people can get jobs. While we are building this down here, the trade's coming in. We're getting these kids actual education in something that's useful. They're not going to go to school and study gender studies or whatever it is that they give diplomas for these days. They're going to learn how to weld, and they're going to be able to take those skills. If they want to go work on an oil well for 6 months out of the year and make 80, 90 grand for that, and then come home and relax, and then build up their real estate wealth. There is so much there. This country is the greatest country on the face of the earth, and people need to stop bad-mouthing and realizing what we've been given by the people who came before us. The people who came before us, I don't care what race you were, everyone came here under duress. Whether you were brought here against your will, or whether you had to flee famine or war or religious or political persecution, everyone came here because things weren't going well where they were. Or if you were brought here against your will, you were brought here. The way I look at it is all those generations, all of our ancestors came here and had it rough. Nobody had it easy. Everybody had it rough. They had to build this place. They gave us what we have now. We live in the greatest country in the world with more resources. We have more opportunity here than anywhere else in the world if we just stop the infighting. And that's what the Democrats and a lot of Republicans too, at the top, they keep us fighting against each other so we can't. They keep getting rich and keep their power, and they stay there for 30 and 40 years in Washington, and we keep getting screwed over, fighting over crumbs. It doesn't have to be that way. It's right there for us to take. Okay? I'm just asking people to come over. Give this a chance. Give this a chance one time. The district has been Democrat for about 88 years. I'm just asking for 2 years. See if I can do it. That's all I'm asking. All right, folks. And again, I'm the poor candidate. Not a lot of money. You won't see me on TV or radio most likely, or hear me on the radio. Please share these videos. Again, Eric Carlson for Congress on YouTube. And then on my website, ericcarlsonforcongress.com, there's a link at top to my social media that has a YouTube link also up there. Please share these videos. I'm trying to get this word out because I want to make a difference here. Thank you.